Hello and welcome to Never a Truer Word, where we look at the words that people choose to use to see if they're telling the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. And we're going to look at Karen Matthews in this episode. Karen Matthews faked the disappearance of her daughter. We're going to look at that and the way she used words to build this fake disappearance of her daughter. And why am I looking at Karen Matthews? Well, it all goes back to the Jay Slater case. And the thing that got me interested in this story was the GoFundMe, which looked very suspicious indeed and still looks very suspicious. You can see or listen to the analysis of that. There's a link in the show notes. At the time of recording, Jay has been missing for a couple of weeks on the island of Tenerife, and Jay's mum has gone out to Tenerife and she is picking up some online flack. Jay Slater mum reveals trolls are calling her the new Karen Matthews is the headline, and there are some similarities between them. They're both from Northern England, so to most of the world they talk very similar because they have a similar accent. But are there more similarities? Are they talking in the same way about their missing child? Let's look at Karen Matthews, who we know faked the disappearance of her child, and see what we can notice in how she talks about that. And then let's have a look at Jay Slater's mum and see if the similarities are there. We're going to start though with Karen Matthews' emergency services call reporting that her daughter was missing.
Police emergency.
Hiya, I want to come daughter is missing, please.
Right, how old is she?
9.
9?
Yeah.
When did you last see her?
She went to school this morning.
Right, have there been any arguments or anything?
No, not at all.
No. Have you been in touch with any of her friends or anybody like that?
Everywhere I can think of her, friends, wives and family and everything.
And nobody at all?
No.
Any information on where she can be?
No.
Does she go to school and come back on her own normally then?
Yeah.
Right, so you expected her home what at 4 o'clock?
About 3:30 later, she's come back from school, so she's 2 or 3.
Does she have a mobile phone or anything like that?
No, it's at home.
Just right, so there's no way of actually ringing to find out. But you've rung round all the friends, and you've been in touch with all the relatives, and there's nowhere else that you've got left to look.
No.
Have you been in touch with the school? Can they confirm whether
She left school at normal time at 3:10.
Right. What did they call her?
Shannon Matthews.
Has she been missing before?
No, it's first time.
And there's been nothing to intimate why she should go?
No, not at all.
So we know this was fake. The allegation was that Karen faked the disappearance of Shannon to get money from people, inspired, I think, by the Madeleine McCann case. She wanted to see if her daughter went missing, how much money would she get? So let's break down the call, knowing that it's false. The operator says, police emergency, and Karen says, hiya, I'd like to report my daughter as missing, please. The first thing we say, especially on an emergency services call like this one, is very important. And her first word is hiya. She introduces herself. She gives a warm greeting. Her daughter is missing. She must be, or should be, in fear, in great concern. And yet the first thing she says is hiya. And the first person she mentions is not the person she should be and we'd expect her to be most concerned about, which is her daughter. She doesn't say, my daughter is missing. She says, I'd like to report my daughter is missing, please. So, which indicates her priority is herself. I would. So her priority is what she wants to do. It should not get help for her daughter. It's to report my daughter is missing, please. So really, it's there. It's right there in the very first line. When she's introducing herself, she says what's important to her is not to have her daughter returned or not to have people looking for her daughter or a massive police effort trying to find the daughter that's missing. What she wants to do is have it reported. She wants it officially noted that her daughter is missing. Also, she says, I'd like to report my daughter as missing, please. So it's not my daughter is missing. It's just, I'd like to report my daughter as missing. So from the first line of this, it's really problematic. And I've always said when missing people are reported, doing an analysis like this would really help the police know where to put their efforts. I'm not saying that it was conclusive, but if they got this and went, wow, that first line is really, really interesting. Her concern is herself, and her concern is reporting her daughter is missing, not getting help for her daughter, not getting her daughter found and returned home and as missing, then they may well have been able to investigate or put the resources in a really fruitful place. She also finishes with please, and often in emergency calls where someone who is guilty is phoning up to falsely report a crime, they are very polite and very respectful to the operator because they need to get that person on side. Hence why we've got the hiya at the start. It's like, hello, well, welcome, please like me, and then please, I'd like to do this, please. We can also see in that very opening statement, the very first line that she says, there's no urgency, which you would expect if someone's 9-year-old daughter is missing. No emotion expressed, and no concern for her daughter is expressed either. The operator asks next, right, how old is she? Karen says, 9. Really straightforward answer. So this is Karen's mode when she's telling the truth. She has no reason to lie about how old Shannon is, and she's not lying. She just gives a one-word answer that directly answers the question. How old is she? 9. And then the next question is completely different in format to that, or the next answer is completely different in format to that. The operator says 9. When did you last see her? And Karen says she went to school this morning. Did you spot it? The operator says, when did you last see her? And Karen doesn't say when. She doesn't give a time or that she was there and she saw her leaving for school in the morning. She just says she went to school this morning. This gives me the impression that there's storytelling going on. Karen has a story straight in her head that she's going to tell the operator, no matter what the questions are asked, and that is that Shannon went to school this morning, and that's the last time she saw her. But when the operator says, when did you last see her? She doesn't say, I saw her when she went to school this morning or when she left this morning. She just says, she went to school this morning, because that is the story that Karen has in her head. Shannon went to school this morning, and I haven't seen her since. The operator then asks, have there been any arguments and Karen interrupts and says, no, none at all. The interruption again suggests storytelling. When someone doesn't let a question go full, when they interrupt to give an answer, that suggests that they could have a story ready to tell. I don't need to listen to all this question. I need to get the story that I prepared out. So is that why Karen is interrupting? When someone interrupts, they're saying it's more important for me to say what I've got to say than to let you finish the question, which can be storytelling or an agenda. And the question is not really important to this person, it's what they say that is important to this person. So Karen interrupts, which is a red flag again. And then she says, no, none at all, which is just, extra answering the question. Have there been any arguments? No, there have been no arguments would be a straightforward answer. But no, none at all. Well, no means none at all, so this is just a repetition, so it's a need to persuade and convince that there have been no arguments. Next from the operator, she says, have you been in touch with any of her friends or anybody like that? Karen's answer is, I've been everywhere I can think of, friends-wise and family and everything. Once again, Karen doesn't actually answer the question that's asked, because it's, have you been in touch with any of her friends? So that means, have you spoken to them? And Karen says, I've been everywhere. So she says where she's been, not who she's been in touch with. Karen just says where she's been. And then she takes it to extremes. I've been everywhere I can think of, friends and family wise, and everything. So she's storytelling again, everywhere I can think of, friends wise and family wise, and everything. So what she really wants to do is convince here with these large absolute words like everywhere and everything that I'm my daughter is really missing because I've done everything and gone everywhere that I can. This is how real it is to me. I've done everything I can think of. I've been everywhere. The next question from the operator says, right, so you were expecting her home at what, 4 o'clock? Karen says about 3:30. The operator says, does she have a mobile phone? And Karen says, no, it's at home. And then Karen goes on to say something else, but there's crosstalk. I can't make out exactly what that is. So what do we have here? Does she have a mobile phone? Karen says, no. And then she says she does have a mobile phone. It's at home. She goes on to say more, which sounds like a story being told in the crosstalk. So I think there is something interesting going on there that as part of this story, we need to know why Shannon doesn't have her mobile phone or didn't have her mobile phone with her. So I think that's what's going on there, is that she, in her head, no, she doesn't have a phone. It's at home. She doesn't have to tell us where the phone was. She wasn't asked, does she have a mobile phone? So again, I think this is Karen not quite answering the question, but telling the story that she's thought about in advance. The operator says, and you've rung round all her friends. Karen says, yes. The operator says, and you've been in touch with all her relatives. Karen says, yes. The operator says, and there's nowhere else that you've got left to look. And Karen says, no. One word answers, all very straightforward there. This all fits the story that Karen has been ready to tell. In fact, it may also fit what Karen actually did. She may have rung round the friends. She may have been in touch with her relatives so that this looked genuine. Therefore, she can answer these questions in a very straightforward, truthful manner. The operator asks, have you been in touch with the school? Can they confirm whether she's been at school? Karen interrupts and says she left school at the normal time, 3:10. What can we see here? The operator asks two questions here. Have you been in touch with the school? And can they confirm whether she's been at school? And Karen's answer is she left school at the normal time, 3:10. So she doesn't say that she's been in touch with the school, and she doesn't say that the school can confirm that she's been at school. Again, I think this is Karen telling the pre-prepared story. So the pre-prepared story is that I last saw her when she left for school, and she left for school at the normal time, 3:10. Another indication that this is storytelling, this is pre-planned storytelling, is the interruption again. The operator is asking this question and Karen goes, I've got an answer ready for this, so I'm going to get that out there. She left school at the normal time, 3:10. And that 3:10 is, again, just that indication of very precise time. 3:10 is when she left. And she talks about it being the normal time. Now, I've noticed so often when people are in storytelling mode, they talk about things being very normal. And we don't tend to notice normal. Why tell us she left at the normal time? Because you want to say that everything was normal and this was a real surprise to us. The operator says, right, what do you call her? Karen says, Shannon Matthews. The operator says, has she been missing before? And we get Karen saying, no, it's the first time. And the operator says, and there's been nothing to intimate why she would go. And Karen says, no, not at all. So we've got that not at all again. So again, it's that need to convince. She could have just said, no, there hasn't, but it's no, not at all. I know no reason why she would not be there. So if I had heard that emergency services call, I would be breaking it down and going, I think we need to look at Karen. She seems to have a story ready to tell, and she's hitting all the points of her story as this call unfolds. Even though she's not asked some of the information, she decides to offer it because this is the story that she's got worked out, and it's much easier to stick to a story you've got worked out than to listen to every single question that comes your way and deal with that. That takes a lot of thinking power. What are your thoughts so far? You can let me know in the comments. You can get in touch on social media as well, and let me know what you think about what we've seen so far from Karen Matthews. If you subscribe or follow to the channel, then you get more episodes like this as and when they happen. And by the way, if you want to become a subscriber on Spotify or a member on YouTube, you get early access to episodes like this, and you also get exclusive content too. Let's have some more from Karen. And she gave some press conferences with the police during the time that her daughter was missing. Now, I don't know why she did these. It could have been that the police just thought that more publicity would help find her daughter. It could be the police had some suspicions and wanted to see how she dealt with the press while she was talking. So we've got a statement here from a press conference from Karen. She says, the thing Sharon does not like is dark, cold, and anything else. So please, if anybody out there, can you please bring my daughter home safe? This is just like the 911 call. So many indicators that more is going on here. She talks about the thing Shannon does not like. The thing Shannon does not like, singular, one thing. And then she mentions three things: dark, cold, and anything else. So the one thing that Shannon does not like, and then she mentions lots of things. So is this truthful? And look at what's embedded inside those words. So if we look at the statement, the thing Shannon does not like is dark, cold, and anything else. You can pull out there, Shannon does not like anything. So was there some sort of stress between them? Did Karen find that Shannon was a bit of an inconvenience or a bratty child? Or in her head, was there something she did not like about Shannon? Because what she says there is Shannon does not like anything. She talks about Shannon not liking the dark, cold, and anything else. How does she know her daughter is in the dark and the cold? She could be anywhere in this story. If Shannon was really missing, she could be in the dark and the cold, but she could also be safe, sound, warm, somewhere. Or maybe just warm, maybe not safe. So how does she know Shannon is in the dark and the cold? And you'll also notice that there's no concern. So while you may get the impression that there's concern, she doesn't express concern. She tells us Shannon doesn't like the dark and cold, but she doesn't go on to express, I'm really worried that she's in the dark and cold. She would absolutely hate that and she would be petrified. So there's no concern for Shannon there at all. She tries to express concern. She tries to show that she's a concerned mother, but she doesn't actually say it explicitly in words. And when someone doesn't say it in words, let's not assume that's what they mean. And then she makes this strange plea to anybody out there. Can you bring my daughter home safe? Not to the person who has Shannon or to the people who has Shannon or to anyone who knows anything. It's a plea to all of us. Please, anybody out there, can you please bring my daughter home safe? And there's another clue. Bring my daughter home safe. That word bring implies that someone would have to take Shannon from where she is to Shannon's home. That means that person must know where Shannon's home is. It's not a plea to release Shannon, not a plea to let her go. It's a plea to bring her to Karen's house. That means that in her head, she must expect that the person who has Shannon knows where Shannon lives. Very telling, because the person who had Shannon was a friend of Karen's. So can you please bring my daughter home safe? A bit of a giveaway there. The press asked Karen, can you remember what the last thing you said to her was? And Karen says, see you at tea time. And the press said, and what did she say? Karen, I'll see you at tea time, Mum. Love you. So can you remember what was the last thing you said to Shannon? See you at tea time. Now, that may well be a truthful statement if someone says that. This is entirely possible that the last thing someone says is see you at tea time. Interesting, though, it's not goodbye, have a good day, anything like that. It's see you at tea time as the last thing you said to her. Now, this gets really interesting because, and what did she say? I'll see you at tea time, Mum. Love you. Now, first of all, this sounds just like a children's story, doesn't it? And so Karen said, see you at tea time. And Shannon said, I'll see you at tea time, Mum. Love you. And Shannon walked out the door. It sounds constructed. It does sound like it comes from a storybook rather than real life. And you'll notice that the last thing that Shannon said in Karen's words are, love you. And Karen did not say love you back, because the last thing that Karen said to her was see you at tea time. Another press conference, and Karen said, well, I think there's somebody out there who knows Shannon. I suppose they probably know me as well, and I just want her home safe, really. It makes me think now, I can't trust people who's really close to me anymore. I just can't trust them. Once again, this common theme that Karen believes this is somebody who knows her. I think that somebody out there who knows Shannon, I suppose, probably knows me as well. So she's actually telling us there who has Shannon. Somebody who knows Shannon and knows me as well. And she also lets slip that it's a he as well. And she stops and says, I just want her home safe, really. So this is a male who knows Shannon and who knows Karen, who has Shannon. She says, I just want her home safe, really. That's really weak. That's really weak. It's got the words just and it's got the words really. So that's the just to me suggests she's trying to focus that this is the only thing that is on her mind is getting Shannon home safe. There's more going on. Just is trying to make us focus on that one thing. This is all I want you to know I'm concerned about, but there is more. There is much more that I'm concerned about. And yeah, if you fake the disappearance of your daughter, you should be concerned about a lot more. But she wants to let us know her only concern is getting Shannon home safe. And really is a bit of a qualifier at the end of it. It's not really what is going on, is it? You know, why is that not said in much more firm sense of, I want her back with me. I want her home. I want her to be safe. Once again, this kind of lack of concern in any real commitment. Towards the end there, once again, she talks about people who are close to her. She is not hiding the fact, because it's really hard to lie, that the person who has Shannon is very close to her. I can't trust people who's really close to me anymore. I just can't trust them. She's letting us know who has Shannon. Or is she setting it up for when Shannon's found at the home of a friend? Oh, well, I had nothing to do with this. In fact, I said I can't trust people who are close to me. Is that what she's doing? Whatever she is doing, she is letting us know in her words what is in her head, which is that someone close to me, someone really close to me, has Shannon. More from Karen here. It's a case of if somebody's out there that has actually got Shannon, it's just broken the family that we have had apart. The family don't feel safe anymore. It's like her brothers are asking for her all the time. Sisters crying. Half the time I cry myself to sleep. Her stepdad, which is Craig, he cries himself to sleep. He hasn't been able to go to work. So what have we got here? So somebody's got Shannon. It's broken the family that we had apart. The family don't feel safe anymore. It's like her brothers are asking for her all the time. Sisters crying. What about Shannon? What about your daughter who you think has been abducted, in your words, but I guess the possibility, if this was a real missing person, the possibilities that she's come to some grief, that there's been even just an accident, they should all be in your head, but there is no concern expressed for Shannon at all. Look at the priorities that she's laying out. She's concerned for the family. She's concerned for the brothers. She's concerned for the sister. And finally, number 4, there is concern for Karen herself, because half the time I cry myself to sleep, but only half the time, not every single time that she falls asleep, she's crying herself to sleep. So once more, this really weak commitment to telling us how she feels. It's half the time that she cries herself to sleep. She says, whoever's got Shannon, just please let her go. Her family's missing her. All her friends are missing her at school. So she wants Shannon let go. Why? Not because her daughter is in an unsafe position, somewhere she shouldn't be, is potentially in a lot of danger. No, let her go because the family's missing her and all her friends are missing her at school. Wow. I mean, that is really something. So what can we see from Karen's words? Well, from the first line of that emergency services call, this looked bad. This really had lots of indications that Karen knew what had happened to Shannon and where Shannon was, who had her. Lying is hard work. Lying is hard work. So much truth leaks out, and we could see that in Karen's words when she was talking about someone close to her, about having Shannon brought home, bring her home. Look at where the focus is as well of Karen. It was storytelling in the 911 call, and then the points of focus during the press conferences were about people close to Shannon and close to Karen. That's i.e. who had the child. And there was a lack of concern or care all the time for Shannon. There just was no urgency and no concern. Why? Because she knew she was in no grave danger. So that's Karen Matthews, and the trolls, their words, not mine, have been comparing Jay Slater's mum to Karen Matthews. So let's have a look at Jay Slater's mum speaking, and let's see if we can see any similarities.
Just to let him go, he's not a bad person. He's just got in maybe with some strangers who befriended him. I'm not stupid. I've been to Tenerife before. I've worked abroad myself. These were all the warnings that I gave to him as well. Just if you've got him, he's not a bad person. He's just got in some, I don't know, if he has got in any trouble, please just let him go. Just let him go. Everybody loves Jay. Everybody loves being in his company. He's bubbly and fun, and he's just a lovely boy. A bonny, beautiful boy. And he was supposed to fly home from this island today. Now we would have been on a flight back. Feeling, has somebody taken him? Has he just panicked? Where am I? You know, they've been in high spirits, they've been to an event. You know, has he just thought, right, I need to go get back down to civilise it? But there is people up there. Why has nobody seen him? You know, there's tourists up there. It's a climbing, you know, it's a hive of activity at 8 a.m. in the morning.
And the search, we know, is going on again today.
Yeah.
Will you be taking part in that?
I can't bear to see where he could be just lying there somewhere. I can't bear it. I don't have the strength to do it. But...
So what do you think? Did you spot truth leaking out? Did you see a lack of concern? Where was her focus? Was there a certainty as to what had happened to her son? Like there was that certainty with Karen. Let's have another look.
Just to let him go. He's not a bad person. He's just got in maybe with some strangers who befriended him. I'm not stupid. I've been to Tenerife before. I've worked abroad myself. These were all the warnings that I gave to him as well. Just if you've got him, he's not a bad person. He's just got in some, I don't know, if he has got in any trouble, just let him go. Just let him go. And everybody loves Jay. Everybody loves being in his company. He's bubbly and fun, and he's just a lovely boy. A bonny, beautiful boy. And he was supposed to fly home from this island today. Now we would have been on a flight back. Feeling, has somebody taken him? Has he just panicked? Where am I? You know, they've been in high spirits, they've been to an event. You know, has he just thought, right, I need to go get back down to civilise it? But there is people up there. Why has nobody seen him? You know, there's tourists up there. It's a climbing, you know, it's a hive of activity at 8 a.m. in the morning.
And the search, we know, is going on again today.
Yeah.
Will you be taking part in that?
I can't bear to see where he could be just lying there somewhere. I can't bear it. I don't have the strength to do it. But...
So what do you think? Why not let me know in the comments if you can. Are there similarities, or are they telling two very different stories, or telling stories in two very different ways? Let me know in the comments here if you can, or get in touch on social media. All the links are down below. Don't forget to subscribe to get more episodes like this. The like button and sharing this with people helps it get to more people as well, and maybe helps them understand how to tell the difference between someone who genuinely has a missing person to report and the care and the urgency that they have, and someone who is storytelling and all the clues to someone being storytelling. The like button or sharing it with people will help this story get to them. And if you want more, go to neveratruerword.com, where you can find more podcasts, more video analysis, sign up for this the newsletter as well, and that's how to get in touch with all the social media. Links are there, neveratruerword.com. And we'll see you soon for something new from Never a Truer Word.